Welcome back to the boat cheat. Well, we're about to set off for Waterford in the Republic of Ireland, which is about 300 miles from Parkstone. So we're going to need our autopilot to be working properly, and unfortunately our wind sensor, the B&G 508 or 608 depending on its age sensor, was burned out in a big storm where it was running at such high speed for so long that the bottom end where the anemometer fixes on was melted. So I've got to change that. And we're going to use that as an opportunity to test mast climbing systems. We've kind of given up on winching me up the mast because my weight is too much for my wife to cope with, bearing in mind the mechanical advantage of the winch and the friction in the pulleys, etc. And so rather than her struggling, we're looking at alternative methods of getting me up the mast. We looked at various boating mast ascending systems, and all of them were between 150 and 300 pounds. And quite expensive, and I wasn't convinced of good value. However, we've gone to Amazon and bought a pair of rock climbers ascenders, and I'm going to just see whether or not simply using offcuts and line and making up the harnesses using these rock climbing ascenders, which cost us about £50 in total, so about 60 bucks, whether or not they provide a safe means of climbing the mast, and whether or not I felt that they were worthwhile. Then we're going to look at fitting the wind sensor into the system to make sure the autopilot can use it and the instruments display it, because it's not as straightforward as I thought. So hopefully you'll find this useful. Okay, so having changed the wind sensor at the top of the mast, you might find you struggle to get the wind data to display on the MFD and to be used by the autopilot. I certainly did. And I looked all through the B&G paperwork and documentation and found nothing. But when I went to sail steer or instruments, I was getting no data from that wind sensor. I went into networks and I went through device name and device list. If you go to device list, you'll see the wind sensor's there. If I select it, it seems to be there. If I look at the data, it's giving sensible data. It's calibrated correctly. It's exactly what it should be reading. But we weren't getting the data on the displays and it wasn't being used by the autopilot. So what do we have to do? It's a really simple one, this. I don't know why it's not made more clear in the instructions. You need to go to device, sources, and this is where I was going wrong. I was looking at apparent wind and true wind and trying to work it out, and right now it's already been fixed, so it's sorted. But what you have to do is to go to auto select up the top and say start, and it will go through and find every device, including the one that you've just put in. That's all you have to do. Just go auto select, it will find the right source for each piece of data on the network, and up it goes. So whatever device you changed, that's the way to get it to be working in the system. So having done that, we go back out to the screen and we've got apparent wind angle, true wind direction, we've got apparent wind speed and true wind speed as well. So all is good. What I've got to do now is to go upstairs and just test the autopilot to make sure it's wind holding, but it does appear that that has fixed the problem. I hope you find that useful. There'll be a link to the Ascender in the description below. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can find out when we make more videos. Thanks for helping us grow the channel, and look forward to seeing you again soon on the Boat Sheet.